once again, and welcome to the news. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present the headlines. PF Legal Counsel Makebi Zulu has dismissed assertions that the PF government is trying to secure a conviction of incarcerated UPND President Hakainde Hichilema. First Lady Esther Lungu says government has developed an ear, nose and throat strategic plan that feeds into the National Health Plan. Now the news in detail. PF Legal Counsel Makebi Zulu has dismissed assertions that the PF government is trying to secure a conviction of incarcerated UPND President Hakainde Hichilema and 5 others. Mr. Zulu, who is also Eastern Province Minister, said this in Lusaka during the interactive forum today. He says the ruling party has no interest of securing a conviction of the UPND leader, saying it is the responsibility of the court to either convict him or set him free. And Mr. Zulu says the move by President Edgar Lungu to ask the Catholic bishops to visit Mr. Hichilema at prison in the spirit of political dialogue is not in any way proving that he is behind his arrest. He emphasizes that President Lungu has no powers at the moment to release Mr. Hichilema unless he is convicted. Mr. Zulu says even people calling on him to have mercy on the incarcerated UPND leader are doing so without understanding that the Constitution does not give President Lungu any powers to release a suspect.
Now, from the time of the arrest of HH, I am sure that you have all been hearing calls on the PF or indeed the President to release HH. And it is these remarks that we have been responding to. So if you're finding problems with us responding to what is being said as regards the arrest of HH, then you can't stop us from responding. You can't stop us from responding because if we respond, it appears as though we're trying to secure a conviction. In fact, a conviction is not secured in the media. A conviction is secured in court. We have no role whatsoever to play in what's happening in court. The magistrates and the judges are sitting as independent adjudicators, there to receive evidence and on the weight of the evidence be able to make their own decisions. There are a lot of cases that have been in court relating to different individuals, and the courts have eventually said this person is innocent or indeed this person.
Meanwhile, Mr. Zulu, who is also PF Malambo Member of Parliament, says the government is not promoting illegality in land management in Eastern Province.
So the cadres have no role whatsoever to play in land allocation to oneself or indeed to any other person. That responsibility is given to the council. If the council is failing to do their job in that case, they'll be suspended or their agency rights will be taken away as it has happened elsewhere, because the councils are only acting as agents for the Minister of Lands, who are the overall authority as regards allocation of land. In any case, if a person says, I'm going to get this land, and they give it to themselves, you cannot have what's not yours, because you won't be able to manufacture your own titles. You won't be able to give yourself an offer letter. Someone else will need to do that. And this issue of people having to get land and later on hope it will be regularized is long gone. We have had to break a couple of structures in Chipata because they built at a place where they shouldn't have built. Others built along the road. We had to break that down and enforce things as they ought to be.
And PF Media Director Sunday Chanda has called on Zambians to condemn outsiders talking ill about the country, saying no one would defend it for them.
That those hired voices, the non-Zambians, they have no interest in this country. They have no interest in what becomes of Zambia. For them, if Zambia was set on fire tomorrow, they would be so happy, because it fits into their agenda. But for us, as Zambians, let's get back to this sense of patriotism, irrespective of one's political belonging. You cannot take pride in speaking ill of your own country. I think that we all have a duty to defend the integrity and the image of this country. That's what makes us the nation that we are. Otherwise, if the generation of the Kenneth Kaundas, etc., the generation that fought for independence, the Simon Monsaka Purpose, had the kind of patriotism, the low levels of patriotism that we're witnessing today, Zambia would still be under the yoke of colonialism. So we have, you have an opposition that is being funded, that troubled with being funded by outsiders, and we know it, but we just keep quiet.
First Lady Esther Lungu says government has developed an ear, nose and throat ENT strategic plan that feeds into the National Health Plan. Mrs. Lungu says the Ministry of Health will soon launch the country's National ENT strategic plan to address existing gaps in the sector, especially through training. The First Lady has also commended Starkey Hearing Foundation in Minneapolis, USA, for establishing the first ever hearing institute in Zambia. Mrs. Lungu notes that the presence of Starkey Hearing Foundation in Zambia has increased the number of specialists in audiology in the country. The First Lady says the Starkey Hearing Foundation has made a huge investment in Zambia, especially for the vulnerable communities. She further disclosed that Baldwin Wallace University has offered scholarships to Zambians to study ENT programs in the USA due to the presence of Starkey Hearing Foundation in the country. Mrs. Lungu says she will continue to use her office as a critical link between Starkey Hearing Foundation and the government through the Ministry of Health. The First Lady was speaking at the Starkey Hearing Foundation Annual Founders Club meeting panel discussion, which was moderated by former U.S. President George W. Bush, daughter Barbara, dubbed Passion plus Purpose equals Impact. Other panelists included First Lady of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Sandra Granga, co-founder of the Starkey Hearing Foundation, Tani Austin, President of International Federation for Peace and Sustainable Development, and Minister of Labor and Social Security of Jamaica, Shaheen Robinson. This is contained in a statement issued to QFM News by Embassy of the Republic of Zambia in USA, First Secretary, Press and Public Relations, Cosmas Chileshe. Labour Minister Joyce Nonde has called on the labour movement in the country to help in sensitizing the nation that there is no state of emergency in Zambia. Ms. Nonde said this in Lusaka when she officiated at the Federation of Free Trade Unions in Zambia FFTUZ sports event. Ms. Nonde says it is important that workers understand that the recent cases of sabotage and arson, if left unchecked, it's the workers who will suffer. She says people should not mislead the nation that there is a curfew in the country, as that is not part of the current security measures taken by the government.
Before going, I want to emphasize that we are not in the state of emergency. We are not. There is no curfew. What we passed in Parliament is simply to prepare regulation so that we monitor the movements of our people and to avoid what we are seeing, because as workers, if this country plunges into chaos, we are all going to be victims. So we have to provide leadership. So those who are going around misleading people that there is a curfew, there is no curfew. For some of us have been we grew in a situation where sometime at one point we had a curfew. This is not what you call a curfew. So the government is preparing new citizens to be alert and also to watch your neighbor. And report suspicious individuals to the police, because when this country goes into fire, all of us are going to be victims.
The Southern African Center for the Constructive Resolution of Disputes, SACOD, has advised government to consider coming up with a Truth and Reconciliation Commission before the 2021 general elections. SACOD Executive Director Boniface Chembe says a lot of people have been affected by the levels of political tension in the country. Mr. Chembe says it is time to start proper healing as a country and reconcile for good. And Mr. Chembe has welcomed the incarcerated opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema's call for unconditional dialogue. He has told Q News that now that the opposition leader says he is willing to dialogue without conditions, there is need for political parties in the country to reconcile for the common good.
SACOD also wanted to take this opportunity to advance that before we go to the 2021 general elections, we now must start looking at the possibilities of putting in place a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It is important that we start a proper healing process as a country. a lot of people have been affected, have been traumatized by the levels of political violence, by the sonic attacks that have taken place, by some brutality that has been experienced on the hand of some law enforcement agencies, and generally speaking, the animosity, the anger that has gripped this nation. It is something that we must provide a platform for proper trauma healing. We may use the law to deal with certain things, but the law has got limitations when it comes to proper healing of people, proper reconciliation of people, and ultimately helping people to bury the hatchet. And as SACOD, we believe that if it all goes well and we do have a dialogue process, that process must eventually lead into a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, so that we start a proper healing process, because this country is currently hurting, it's bleeding, and we must ensure that it is healed, that it is reconciled, and that all peoples of this nation again begin to feel as one and participate constructively, effectively, and most importantly, lovingly in the affairs of the country.
And in another development, the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, has praised President Edgar Lungu for exhibiting good leadership by accommodating the Catholic bishops in finding solutions to many national matters. YALI governance advisor Isaac Mwanza says that was the first step towards initiating the much talked about political dialogue. Mr. Mwanza says leaders must embrace dialogue as this is instrumental in addressing national matters. He says the Catholic bishops must strive to persuade UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema to agree to dialogue with other political leaders. Mr. Mwanza says there is no doubt that the nation needs healing.
So as Young African Leaders Initiative, we are very happy that the Catholic bishops took the first step to meet the president, and the president finally agreed to meet with the bishops in order to find an amicable solutions to the tension that is going on in the country. It was good to notice that after the meeting, the resolutions was reached that the bishops must proceed and meet President Hakainde Hichilema to ensure that we see where to go from there. And I think that we call for dialogue as we have done consistently before.
The Foundation for Democratic Process, FODEP, has encouraged Zambians to continue shining as an example of a peaceful country. FODEP Executive Director Mwenge Chimfembe says Zambians have been known to be friendly people and that tag should not be lost. Mr. Chimfembe says Zambians have been living in harmony for many years, saying this is still possible to continue living in harmony with each other despite all political, religious and social standing in society. He says Zambians must take a sober reflection of where they are coming and see what kind of future that they want to create.
The harmony, the friendliness, the One Zambia, One Nation motto upon which we have been shining as an example could continue. So I think that certain laws that are quite ambiguous and allowing for a situation where it disadvantages opposition, needs to be sorted out.
A Lusaka man in his late 40s was last night stabbed to death with a sharp bottle. Police spokesperson Esther Katongo says the police yesterday received a report of murder in which male adult identified as Charles Sinkamba, aged 48, died after he was stabbed with a sharp bottle on the right upper arm and sustained a deep cut. Ms. Katongo says this happened in Lusaka's Mutandabantu area near Heroes Bar yesterday, the 15th of July 2017, around 20 hours. She says the suspect, Titus Miyoba, aged 33, of Mutandabantu, has been arrested and detained in police custody and a docket of murder opened. Ms. Katongo says the body of the deceased is in UTH mortuary awaiting post-mortem. In another incident of suspected murder, a decomposed body of a female juvenile aged 4 years of Kukugumbo area was discovered by members of the public yesterday on the 15th of July 2017, around 14 hours in a ditch filled with water near Watchtower Church in Kuku compound. The police spokesperson says the deceased was reported missing on the 5th of July 2017 and was discovered yesterday. She says she was identified by her father and her left hand was found tied with a rope. Teachers supervising the General Certificate of Education Examination (GCE) have been warned to avoid aiding pupils in any form during the examination. Zambia National Union of Teachers Zanut General Secretary Newman Hubala points out that the rules governing all examinations must be abided by. Mr. Hubala has emphasized that there is need for teachers not to aid pupils in any form of examination malpractice, adding that those who would be engaged in examination malpractices would be punished severely. He has asked them to be vigilant and go by the rules of the exams. Mr. Abubala says teachers should make sure that they desist from any form of examination malpractices so that pupils obtain genuine school results that will reflect their academic capabilities and help them choose professions that they can successfully pursue in life.
It should be the last thing to be thought of disciplining a teacher. Would rather a teacher be hired, be professional, abide by ethics, so that they are not caught up in these disciplinary issues. If he's supposed to work, let them work. If he's supposed to be at work, let not abscond. Let them be there. Let's not go to school drunk. Let's be above board. Let's not be tempted with schoolgirls or schoolboys, whatever. Let us be above board and be high disciplined. Let us be professional and let us not always be entangled in discipline or anything. Our appeal really is to have a disciplined teaching force.
All right, maybe.
Some HIV/AIDS patients have encouraged people living with HIV to ignore suggestions that they should stop taking medication and trust in God for total healing. They are furthermore calling on the church to stop misleading the people, but rather encourage them to do both prayers as well as taking medication. We have details in the following report.
There are some churches whereby when you are a member to that church, then when you are found to be HIV positive, like for instance you mentioned to a pastor for counseling, the pastor will just say, don't come to my church again because you might infect everyone. Yeah. So some churches they don't help, some they do.
These are myths some HIV positive patients have been encountering. Mary Banda, a resident of Garden Compound, is not the only HIV patient who has been discouraged to stop treatment if she believes in faith. Patients equally encountered the same experience and has this advice.
We just see rumors, so we can't believe where people they just go to churches, they are prayed for and they come back that they are ill. No, because as of now we only take ARVs which suppress, and it doesn't cure, it just suppress the virus. So the thing, these people who go to be prayed for, they also need not to stop taking their medication, because once they stop, it means those viruses, they will become active again. Sometimes maybe why they go for prayers, they are being tested negative, it's because they've been on earth maybe for several years. So the virus is suppressed. As a result, the virus can't show on those tests they use, the RPR, they determine. So it just shows negative, but it doesn't mean that they are cured. If you take their stories, you see how they have lived their lives after being prayed for, you find that probably they started feeling sick again because that HIV virus is more active again.
Suffice to say, some have even fallen prey to these myths with the hope that they will be cured if they have faith in God. But these clergymen made the following observations.
We have had the testimonies of people that declared that they were healed, and at the end of the day, they found themselves in a situation that they die prematurely. But we've had people that have continued to take medication and they've lived on for 20 years, 30 years and the like. So I want to state, and I've seen some of my members in the church that have stayed on with the virus for many years and they're still alive and growing strong because they continue to take the medication in the midst of the prayers that are being conducted, unless the doctors certify. Because when you check your CD4 count and your HIV/AIDS status, the first time you check, you are told you are negative. You have to check again another 6 months, and you have to keep on the routine of checking
The moment you find that, yes, the virus is still active in the body, I advise the Zambian people to say, please do not play the ignorance that has come on board at the moment in the Christian fraternity, where you want to hear what you want to hear. You want the pastor to tell you that you are healed. No, 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 no. I want you to believe that God heals, but the fact of the matter is that HIV/AIDS is a deadly disease that we've seen lives lost at an instance of failing to take the medication. So,
United Nations resident Janet Rogan has made this appeal to people living with HIV and AIDS.
One thing I would say is if you are HIV positive, there is no cure for this disease. Once you know your status, you must start taking the medication immediately, and you must stay on the medication. There is no alternative. You must take the medication. There is no reason to take a break from it. You must continue consistently, and that will extend and control the disease in your body.
Treatment, Advocacy and Literacy Campaign National Coordinator Felix Mwanza wants government to introduce a law which will compel pastors who discourage their members from taking medication to be prosecuted.
I think the government, can, put in measures, including SIs, including, statutory policies that are going to ensure that these particular churches that are involved in praying away, people from taking medication, their, operational licenses, are revoked, and probably, stiff measures, put in place, such that, they are deterred from doing this, because the government is spending a lot of money together with its cooperative partners in ensuring that they procure the medication. And all of a sudden, you tell somebody that, you are healed after being prayed for, and stop taking medication. What actually results is death of that particular individual. So we call upon the government, I think, to be a bit more, proactive in as far as this particular issue is concerned, because a lot of our people have died over the years, and we seem not to have, strong measures from the government, coming in so much so that these particular people can learn from. And I think as civil society now, what we have started doing is, identifying these particular church leaders with a view of taking them to, the courts of law, so much so that we can have them, prosecuted, and if found guilty, sent to jail.
HIV prevalence in Zambia declined, falling by 19% between 2003 and 2015. However, it is still relatively high, with official figures estimating it at 12.9% in 2015. However, if the country is to make significant progress, such religious myths need to be addressed. Favorite Kalando reporting for QTV News in Osaka.
Kabata Ward 5 Councillor Longa Chiwoboka is happy that his ward has been given 10 kilometers of roads to be worked on under the phase 2 of the L400 road project. Mr. Chiwoboka says at the moment, leaders in the ward are identifying roads that need to be worked on urgently. He says one of the major roads that the residents have identified is the outer road stretch from St. Patrick's to Nationalist Road along Chilimbulu Road, saying it will also help decongest the roads. Mr. Chiwoboka says this will also help improve the living standards of the people of Kabata.
As I'm sure you've heard, it's in public domain, the government announced the beginning of the phase 2 of the L400, and I'm happy that for Kabata Ward 6 we've been given 10 kilometers of the roads to do new roads in the phase 2 of L400. This is a good time for us, and it's a joyous moment, and this is the beginning. So now we are doing the identification of the roads that the residents feel are important to their well-being, and we are doing a selection right now to present to RDA for the same process to take effect. I think one of the major roads that the resident felt should be done is this same road which stretches from St. Patrick's there up to Nationalist Road.
To end the news, the headlines once more. PF Legal Counsel Makebi Zulu has dismissed assertions that the PF government is trying to secure a conviction of incarcerated UPND President Hakainde Hichilema. First Lady Esther Lungu says government has developed an ear, nose and throat strategic plan that feeds into the National Health Plan. That's what we heard in our news. Stay tuned.